Hey there, coffee lovers! Did you know that Americans are undisputed champion when it comes to the coffee consumption worldwide? Seriously, it's like America runs on coffee. But why do we love coffee so much? Well, it's an instant energy boost. But here's the kicker. Have you ever noticed that no matter how much coffee you drink, you're still stuck in the tired zone? It's called caffeine crash. It's when caffeine makes you feel more like a slot than an energized human. If caffeine overstimulates your CNS, your heart races, you get palpitations, and you might unknowingly feel anxious, all of which can lead to burning more calories and leaving you feeling even more tired. Now, for those riding this caffeine roller coaster,
Wow.
cutting back on coffee might seem like a solution. But let's be honest, if I tell you to quit coffee cold turkey, can you really do it? I want to give you three groups of people when it comes to coffee: those who have to quit entirely, those who should reduce, and those who can just keep sipping away like usual. Now, take a moment to count how many of these symptoms apply to you and give yourself a little assessment. If you experience all three of these symptoms I'm about to discuss, it's crucial to stop drinking coffee. If you have one or two of these symptoms that apply to you, please pay attention to following signal for self-check. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First up is the weak stomach group. Coffee cranks up your stomach acid production, especially when you're sipping on an empty stomach. Sure, it might feel like liquid gold initially, but excess coffee consumption can lead to inflammation in your digestive system. You might say, I love coffee more than my stomach hurting, but here's the catch. It could accelerate issues like gastritis and IBS. Some of you might underestimate the impact of stomach ulcer, but if you let them linger without attention for too long, things can take a serious turn. You could experience rather alarming symptoms like vomiting blood or noticing black stools. And in worst case scenario, it might even escalate to stomach cancer. So you have to watch out. Now, second on the list is glaucoma group. If you have a glaucoma or family history of it, you need to be extra cautious. As many of you know, glaucoma is the terrifying condition where increased eye pressure damages the optic nerve. Caffeine can mess with your eye fluid dynamic, potentially leading to higher eye pressure, which is a bad news for glaucoma patient. It can worsen symptoms, cause vision loss, and in the worst case scenario, lead to blindness. So, for those of you with the glaucoma or family history of it, caffeine can be especially risky. It's essential to control your coffee consumption for sure. Last but not least, the weak bone group. If you have osteoporosis or weak bone, should be cautious. Osteoporosis is condition where holes form in the bones, decreasing bone density and weakening them, especially as you age. Calcium is vital for bone health, but coffee not only hinders calcium absorption, but also flushes essential nutrients like calcium and vitamin out of the body through urine. A single cup of coffee can lead to a loss of 4 to 6 milligrams of calcium, increasing the risk of a lower bone density. Of course, for the average Joe and Jane, this is a massive concern. But if you got osteoporosis, it's wise to be conservative and watch out even for minor losses. If you find yourself falling into all of these three symptoms, it might be time to rethink your coffee consumption. But what if you only fit one or two of these symptoms, or none at all? Well, stay tuned because I've got four more signals to consider for you. And for the record, I got just one, so I'm going to keep my coffee. First up, it's a heartburn. Caffeine has this way of relaxing the lower esophageal sphincter, allowing stomach acid to creep up and give you that uncomfortable burning feeling in your chest. If you don't deal with it, it can escalate into serious issue like GERD, or in the worst case scenario, even esophageal cancer. So don't ignore heartburn, especially if it keeps happening. And here's a handy tip. Try not to drink coffee on an empty stomach. It can make heartburn more likely. Next, we got headaches. Caffeine narrows your blood vessel. When you suddenly stop drinking your daily coffee, those constricted blood vessels can expand again, causing pressure on the nearby optic nerve and leading to headache. Now, you might have heard that caffeine can actually help with the headache, and that's true. But it's when you consume it in moderation. Consuming too much coffee can in fact lead to chronic headache. Also, if you've been drinking coffee regularly and suddenly stop, you might experience withdrawal headaches. So, if you have any connection between headaches and coffee, it's a sign that you should consider reducing your coffee intake. Now, let's talk about the fatigue. Feeling tired but sleeping is bad, making you even more tired. It's a catch-22, right? When we start feeling tired, our body naturally produces something called adenosine, which makes us feel sleepy. But when you drink coffee, that caffeine in it doesn't let adenosine do its job properly. Instead, caffeine attached to the same spot where the adenosine should go because they look pretty similar. So your body decides to make more of this adenosine receptor to handle all the adenosines that's just hanging around because of the caffeine. When the caffeine finally wears off, you end up even more tired than before because of all that extra adenosine and the extra receptors. If you keep going in this cycle, it can lead to feeling tired all the time, which is what we call chronic fatigue. And it might even keep you up at night, causing insomnia. And if you can't sleep well, it can even increase the risk of a heart problem up to 8 times higher. But for those who can quit coffee, remember this. Cortisol, the energy hormone, if the caffeine crashes your cortisol party between 8 in the morning and 9 in the morning, it can leave you feeling even more tired. So either skip that coffee during that time or wait 1 or 2 hours after waking up before that first coffee. Trust me, it's worth the wait. And last but not least, muscle cramps. Caffeine stimulates nerve and heart muscle cells, which can lead to overstimulate muscles and you guess it, cramps. If you're sipping coffee and neglecting water, caffeine's diuretic effect can lead to excess urination, causing you to lose crucial nutrients like magnesium. As a result, your muscle might not be too thrilled and can retaliate with cramps, twitching under your eyes, or annoying sensation of a pin and needles. If you have these symptoms, please drink more water. Now, let's sum up who should think about cutting back on coffee. First, if you have a sensitive stomach. Second, if you're dealing with the glaucoma or osteoporosis, it's time to put that coffee down now. Also, take a moment to evaluate how many of these symptoms apply to you. If it's more than one, it's a clear sign that you should consider cutting back for your sake of your health. And one last tip, coffee can deplete our bodies of calcium and magnesium. So if you must have your coffee, consider taking these supplements after 2 hours later. In our next video, I will share some healthy additive you can use for your coffee. Until next time, stay healthy.